would say, the deltas aren't all that. We don't really like the K's, or I don't really have anything nice to say about the zetas. But hey everyone, so today I'm going to be talking about sorority beef. Now, I don't necessarily believe in the hype, or not necessarily the hype, but I don't necessarily believe in the comments that all sororities have beef or that two main sororities have beef. I think that sorority beef happens one of two ways. One of which being it's something that occurred a long time ago that none of us remember. If it was something related to our pro-fights, and because our pro-fights tell us not to like these girls in this organization, we don't like the girls in the organization. That's one. The other thing being is something historical. Now, we all know one of the histories behind Delta Sigma Theta and Alpha Kappa Alpha. It's historical. If you guys want to know the history behind that, you guys can look it up. But that's another issue where you had issues dealing with previous founders or the founding history of an organization, and that therefore creates beef. Now, with the beef in regards to that, that's just plain rivalry. I think every sorority has a sense of rivalry. Every organization is going to have rivalry. What we don't talk about is what happens when we're not on stage with each other. So one instance being, I'll use the deltas and the AKAs as an example because that's the one that everyone knows. But say the deltas and the AKAs are at a yard show and shade is thrown. Well, that's natural. Majority of the time, if they're throwing shade, it's showmanship. We're always going to have something snarky to say about each other just because it's part of the show. What people don't tend to know is sometimes it is just a show. It is just an act. Sometimes we naturally don't like each other, and then sometimes, and when I say we, I mean us organizations in general, sometimes we naturally don't like each other, and then sometimes it's just part of the show. Majority of the time, it depends on the campus that you're on. Sometimes everyone just gets along and it's not necessarily any rivalry or any beef going on, except for like healthy rivalry. But if it's the chapters on campus that disagree with each other, it's going to be one of those two things that I mentioned before as to why two organizations don't like each other. I don't necessarily think that it is necessarily healthy. So when you're dealing with showmanship, 9 times out of 10, from my experience being an undergrad, we would make comments about the other organization, but at the end of the day, we were all still friends. So we would say, the deltas aren't all that. We don't really like the K's, or I don't really have anything nice to say about the zetas, but like in real life, all of my friends are zetas and all of my friends are deltas. So I think that some people see what occurs on the outside and they don't necessarily see what's on the inside. To give you a better example, my SANs were all a part of different organizations. I had SANs come from the Sigmas, from the Alphas, the Ks, the Deltas, the Zetas. We all cross at the same time. However, if we're doing a yard show, best believe some shade is going to be thrown just because I can't necessarily let the world know that I like you guys like that. So at the end of the day, I'll say my piece, but afterwards we're hanging out in a Russell house laughing about what each other said. So, and then you have some cases where people take things the wrong way and things are taken out of context and people get offended, which is understandable. We're human, but I think that it's important to realize that I don't think that the organizations themselves should overcast over actual relationships that we have with each other. So it does exist, beef does exist, rivalry does exist, but I think that it's up to the chapters and the organizations on campus themselves not to let it get too far. Now, if you guys have similar stories or anything that you may know about rivalries or anything that you know about sorority beefs, let me know down below. I'd love to hear your comments on it. Make sure you're respectful because I know this is a touchy subject for people, but make sure you respect each other when you comment. But all comments are generally welcome. Feel free to put them down below. If you guys like this video or if you have more comments for me, please put them down below. I'll be happy to read them. And if you have any more suggestions for me, please put them in my comment box on my Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You guys know the drill. But if you guys like this video, give me a thumbs up and I'll see you guys in my next sorority topic. Bye!